Hi, guys. Welcome back. Hope you're looking forward to our next semester together. So, this week, I wanted to do a little activity with you guys that my in class students started before Christmas. They're going to be working on this same thing this week along with you guys, but it is something that they've already started. But I thought it would be fun for my online students as well. Basically, I want to write a short story. We finished reading The Great Gilly Hopkins, and I know that throughout your time in school, you've been asked to read lots of stories. I don't know if you've always gotten as many opportunities to write stories. So that's what I want to do this week. Before I just say, hey, write a story, I do want to talk to you quickly about what I expect from your story and just remind you what a story is. Make sure that you all understand what it is we're going to be doing this week. So, first off, you should understand a story is not the same thing as a newspaper article or an informational piece of writing. A story is, as it says, meant to entertain. That's its purpose. A story has characters, a setting, a plot that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Um, like The Great Gilly Hopkins is a book, but it does tell a story. It's a much longer story than I expect for you to tell. But that's what I mean by story. You create characters in your mind, a situation for those characters to be in, and you tell what happens to them. One thing that kids often, I think, get confused about when I ask students to write stories, a short story is not the same thing as a journal entry. Like when I say, tell me your thoughts about your family, or what do you think about elections? That's just, when I said a journal entry, like you're just sharing your thoughts about a topic. That's not a story. Remember, a story has like characters, a beginning, a middle, an end. There's a setting. Um, it's not the same thing as a journal entry. Though you are welcome to tell a story that's a true story that happened to you, you're just going to tell it so that it doesn't sound like a journal. You're going to tell it so that it sounds like a story. Okay. And I've said this already, but remember a story a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Meaning in the beginning, generally that's when we, as a reader, if I was reading your story, that's when I might meet the characters, find out what's going on with them. Like I'll learn like where they are, kind of learn the setting. The middle of a story is generally where the characters that you've created are dealing with some problem or dealing with some issue. We call that the conflict. And most good stories have a conflict of some sort. And the end is where we find out how things turned out, how that conflict gets solved. So it's very important that when you're deciding what you want your story to be about, you don't want to pick a story that would take you too long to write. Like we don't have time to write books this week, but you don't want to pick a topic or a story that's too short either. You want to be careful when you pick a topic. You want it to be something where your characters can encounter their problem, deal with their problem, and solve their problem all in one story pretty quickly. So my only guidelines, they're pretty open. You do get to choose what you write. You can write a realistic story about like you and your friends and something that happened to y'all. You could write a fantasy story with dragons and goblins, a horror story where something scary happens, science fiction, whatever. The possibilities are endless. You get to choose what you write about. We are going to type these stories on a Google Doc, and it has to be at least one whole page typed. So this is not a simple chunky paragraph. This is more than that. Keep that in mind. You are welcome to write more, but I don't need it to go on for pages and pages and pages and pages. Like between 1 and 3 pages, I think is plenty for your short story. Now, I do understand that I'm not there with you guys. I'm not there to edit or revise along with you. So I'm not going to be marking off for every little mistake. I understand. But with that said, do try to turn in the best that you can do, because the fewer mistakes there are, the easier it will be for me to read and understand your story. So maybe get mom or dad or grandma, whoever your grown up is, to like read over it once before you turn it in, or maybe a big brother or big sister if you have one. And then finally, when I do grade it, I am going to be very generous. I like to be generous in my grading. But what I'm looking for, does it have a beginning, middle, and end? Did you do a good job creating your characters and describing them? And basically, like, is it a story? Was it an entertaining thing to read? So other than that, the sky's the limit. I want it to be a fun assignment. I want it to be something you can get creative with. So now that you know what we're going to be working on all week, the next video you watch, we're going to talk a little bit about brainstorming and getting some ideas for your story. Okay.